for WNBA Swish. Dreams on and off the court, the best to tell the stories and report. Player profile, Swish interview series, presses make will be a Swish. The best they bring you the stories and all the rest. Sean and Brad run the show with the team, that's right. They bring you best interviews about all the hoop dreams. So if you want the dish, tune in to WNBA
Swish. Sean Schultz with Brad Lake, and we're joined by the former Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. Thanks for the opportunity. Look forward to talking.
Did you get a chance to watch the Olympics?
Absolutely. Two nail biters.
Basketball overseas in Australia. What was that like for you?
That was a dream come true. And I tried out for the Boston Celtics after college, and everybody tells you they're the last person cut. I was not the last person cut.
Just a great family of educators. Our condolences on your mother. She passed about a month ago. Can you tell us a little bit about her legacy in the center and the work they do?
Yeah, no, I really appreciate that. It's definitely been a time of reflection for our family. But we lived on the campus of the University of Chicago, still live here. My dad was a Chicago professor. My mother ran an inner city tutoring program and raised my sister. Literally from the time we were born in her program. So went there. I was going after school program long before we ever started going to real school. Just had the lessons there were formative for all of us. We all tried to follow footsteps in different ways. And that's also where I got my love of hoops. It's a lot of love for a lot of years, but I learned a little bit about how to win and how to be tough. It shaped my life forever. So I'm probably grateful.
You're a super fan of the Chicago Sky.
I am. We raised our kids going to those games, and it's been an amazing way to raise a family. And I'm so thankful, not just the example set for my son, who's a college athlete now playing ball. For him, it was never boys or girls. Didn't know the distinction. Kind of experience, I didn't have growing up, and so it's an amazing part of our families. Just enjoyment. So we still have great games. We're still gonna number of years now. So.
Courtney Vandersloot.
Miss Sloot on his alley.
Thinking about the women's game, all the excitement around the Olympics, the frenzy in the NCAA, and now the explosion of the growth of the WNBA. Where do you see the league going from here? All these superstars, and what's your take on just how successful women's hoops has been lately?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think the honest answer is I don't really know, but it seems like the sky's the limit. And it really feels for me like, what's the comparison? It's sort of like a bird and magic comparison coming out of college, where I remember that time the NBA games were probably on tape delay and you could watch them at 11:30 at night or something. And sort of moved to prime time with them and with Caitlin and Angel and others. And it's just gone to, in one season, a short amount of time, just, viewership, attendance, everything is increased exponentially. And you don't see that too often in life. So I think you're at the start of this next generation that's going to be extraordinary. I'm just excited to see where it goes and to witness it. And I also think it's so important to just, pay respect and remember all the greats who came before this moment. Just doesn't happen overnight. And just thinking back to, Lisa Leslie and, Tina, all those guys, it's just, without them, doing the hard stuff, you wouldn't be at this point. But I think these next couple of years, my guess, and it's a pure guess, would be that this explosive growth and interest in the game is just going to continue to grow. And so I think it's made, it's been moving sort of along steadily, but in literally a year, you've seen this quantum leap that I think is going to continue. And the Olympics, as you noted, only helps that, only builds upon it, builds that.
You have worked with the Knight Commission on Intercollegiate Athletics from 2016 to 2023. As we know, that organization promoted transformative change that priorities many aspects of college athletes. Can you speak to what initiatives and the successes you had to better student athletes?
fortunate to co-chair that night commission for 8 years, and you turned out. So unfortunately, got kicked off recently. Maybe they'll take me back another year or so. We'll see. But it's something that's very personal for me. Just the chance to be a student athlete. I always want to put the student part first. Was transformative in my life. Helped to make me who I am. I always think probably second to the military, or right after the military, being a college athlete is maybe the best training ground in our country for future leaders. And whatever little success I've had in my career, I absolutely attribute to the life lessons I learned on the basketball court: resilience, toughness, how to handle failure, how to be a good teammate, how to handle pressure, how to make it through tough times. And so I think that chance to be a student athlete is life-changing. It's absolutely life-changing. I always just want to make sure that we're living our values. And I think, frankly, in big-time college sports now, we've lost a little bit of those values.
Yes.
And it's sort of, chase the money, follow the money. And so the NCAA has been struggling. That's the most honest way I can put it. I think it's lost its way a little bit. And I'll speak for myself, not for anybody else. I do think, one way to think about it, because I think 95% of college athletics is pretty extraordinary. There may be some challenges with big time college football, maybe a little bit with basketball, but in my mind, sort of separating that out, I wouldn't even call it semi-pro. I'd call it pro at this point, letting them just do their own thing. And obviously, with NIL now, you can pay players whatever their market rate might be, and just let that happen. But I'm not sure with the super conferences whether it makes sense to have the swimming team and the lacrosse team and the field hockey team traveling across country, missing class. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And so I think there's maybe a bifurcation that needs to happen. Don't know if that's going to happen or not.
Right. And how important is it to you that school districts and educators understand the importance of athletics in education, where you have young girls and boys starting athletic journeys that could take them to college and beyond? And can you speak to the personal joy and the impact that it's had on you to see students and hear stories of them playing the games that they love while they're in school?
Yeah, I know what it meant to me, and it's really not about me, but I just sort of look at the data. And if you look at all the data, whether it's high school graduation rates or college graduation rates, student athletes graduate at much higher rates than the normal students. And you have that connectedness. You're a part of something better than yourself. So the myth or the stereotype of the dumb jock is actually dead wrong. And athletes are great student leaders. They participate in other aspects of the collegiate experience and high school experience. They make a great alumni. As I mentioned, my dad was a professor at the University of Chicago, which is a wonderful academic school, a D3 school. They weren't going to win any national championships, but he always said he was the faculty representative to the NCAA, and he would come home and tell those stories, and that was really meaningful to me as a kid. But what he said to me is it was not just developing leaders. He said the college athletes were also great alumni of the university and always participated and gave back. So for me, it is, yes, about the joy of being on a team, but it's really, as I said earlier, it's really about developing the next generation of leaders and having an opportunity, whether it's elementary school or middle school or high school, if you're lucky enough, having that chance in college. I just want that. I want young people to benefit in every way they should benefit from it. I want it to always be students first and athletes second. And I think the benefits for our country are pretty.
A lot of our fans would want to know who was better at hoops, you or President Obama.
I'll plead the fifth on that one. So, but I'll just say we had a lot of fun playing together for a lot of years there. What I will say, and he was incredibly competitive and loved to play, but it was really interesting and almost not sad that the basketball court was the one place where he could just be Brock, where he wasn't Mr. President. And I know the stress I was under and how much I needed that camaraderie and that chance to sweat. And obviously he was at a exponentially higher level of stress. And so I know how much it meant to me. I know it had to mean more to him. And people often ask, well, would you give him a break? And we usually play together, but if we played against each other, I was trying to kill him. And people, you guys who understand hoops, is you're taking it easy on somebody, it ruins the game. It's like there's no point in it. So there was never any grace given or any points given. And he was fun to play with, super competitive, great teammate. And that was, again, really important to us and to others who were lucky enough to be part of that experience.
Such a history-changing year, and you've been a part of a history-changing administration. What is the importance you would tell young folks and anyone in general of registering the vote and getting the vote out this year specifically?
I so appreciate that question. As you know, we have lost track of the exact dates. We have less than 90 days until the next election. I'll just say, and just always speak very honestly from the heart, that being part of President Obama's historic administration was something I will take to my grave. It's one of the proudest times, the proudest experiences of my lifetime. We'd do it again in a heartbeat. And I do think what we did was incredibly important. But I think very candidly, this election is way more important because we're really fighting, in my personal honest belief, we're fighting to save our democracy here. That was not what we were doing before. We desperately wanted to win. It would have been crushed if we lost. But frankly, if Senator McCain would have won the first time and Senator Romney would have won the second time, that would have been crushing. But I wouldn't have worried for our democracy. I do worry for our democracy now, and for all of us, but particularly our young people, this is not something you can afford to sit out. And I think of all the people who sacrificed their lives and literally died and shed blood for the right to vote. That for me, we always have to do this in their honor. And obviously, we're all focused on the WNBA here, but to have potentially our first female president, our first female president who's African American, this is a chance to make history and to save our democracy. So this is, to me, by far, I thought those elections were really important. They were really important. This is candidly by far the most important presidential election of our lifetime. I hope we don't have another one that's important. We can't see where it'll be 4 years from now. But I just think that everything's at stake here. And so WNBA, as you know, has been a leader on social issues for a long time. They have not been afraid to speak out. They have not been afraid to speak on tough issues and stand for equity and stand for justice. And so the alignment of values between what the WNBA is doing to create opportunity and to create fairness and create equity, and to see those values reflected in this election, these ties are really powerful and profound. I think individual players, teams, the league itself can be a force for something that's just critically important at this moment in our nation's history.
We know you got to run, Mr. Secretary, but Secretary of Education Arne Duncan, thank you so much for joining us, and we just appreciate your time.
No, thanks for a great conversation. We covered some ground here. Have a great night, fellas. Take care.